Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Beauty Tips Podcast, the show that gives you advice on everything from hair to fashion to skincare products. We'll talk about the latest trends in makeup, hairstyles, and anti-aging remedies. And we'll cover all of the newest fashion trends. If you have an interest in or questions about the beauty and fashion trends that might work best for you, the Golden State Media Concepts Beauty Tips Podcast has got you covered.
Welcome to the GSMC Beauty Tips Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Colleen, and let's just get into some beauty stuff. So I was thinking about different things that we could talk about in this podcast, and I started thinking about beauty trends around the world. Now, I do want to focus a lot on makeup trends because there are a lot of things that are similar and a lot of things that actually aren't. And like things that I didn't know existed and also things that I know existed and I love so much better than a lot of the makeup we do here in America. So let's start off and get on our plane and take a jet or whatever down to Japan. We're going to Japan. That's what I'm trying to say. But so I want to talk about Japan and Korea first because they have a lot of things that are similar, but they also have things that are different. So we're talking about Japan. A big thing in Japan is not black eyeliner, but colored eyeliner. So I'm talking about like brown eyeliner, bright colors like pink and stuff to kind of bring out the, colors. It's basically a way to add a pop of color without doing too much. Because in Japan it seems that it's kind of along the same lines as Korea in the fact that it's more toned down. Now, another thing that's been just a super craze and actually has been hitting America recently because of TikTok. I don't know if you've ever seen TikToks or not. I don't personally watch TikToks. I don't know, that's just me. But there are these people who call themselves e-girls. Now, that's the 2020 equivalent of an emo, I think. I don't think anybody really knows what e-girl is. It just seems to be a style. And they do this same thing that they do in Japan, and it's called hangover makeup. Now, hangover makeup means that you are accentuating your eye bags just a small bit, and then you're putting a lot of blush on, a lot of blush, but you're doing it more under the eye. Like closer under the eye, almost up on your cheekbones, well, like on your cheekbones, and then also across the nose to give almost like like I've been coughing a lot look. I don't know. But that started there and now is slowly transitioning into America, the US. Now, the last thing they do to really achieve this hangover makeup is having paler skin. You really want to look sickly with this, but not like you're dying. Kind of like you've been blowing your nose. That kind of thing. And this is really popular there, really getting really popular here. And that's fine. I think it's super cute. Maybe I'll have to try it out and post it on the Twitter at GSMC_beauty tips or also on the Facebook GSMC beauty tips. Maybe I'll do a look and I'll post it for you guys. But let's move on to some more stuff. So lips. A big thing with the lips is they're called bitten or popsicle lips. Now, this is basically doing darker in the center and fading it out on your lips and not really lining your lips, kind of giving it that faded out effect, which is what I love to do anyway, is just a faded lip line. I just like the way it looks personally. But I also love the way that this popsicle lip or bitten lip looks. And a big thing that they're also doing on top of that is what they call a vitamin C lip, which is basically just oil like lip oils on top of whatever you're wearing, which I think is great too because it's good for your lips. But the last thing about Japan before we move to Korea, before we take a plane and go to Korea, is glossy eyes. Glossy eyes are huge in Japan, and I love glossy eyes. I just like it when your whole face looks like you just stuck it in water. I think that's what it is. But glossy eyes are really popular, so they do make a lot of eye glosses on the market now. I know that MAC has one that's called Eyeglass, I believe. But it's very popular among runway, but it's very popular in a normal look for somebody in Japan. They'll also add glitter to their glossy eye to give a little bit more of a shine or a sheen. So, I don't know. I love this. I like a lot of their trends, but I've never tried the hangover makeup. I use colored eyeliner all the time. Well, okay, mostly I use lipsticks as colored eyeliner. Only ones that are eye safe. I'm not going for anything that's not eye safe. I just don't have a lot of actual colored liners, and that's kind of a trick if you want a colored liner. I like to do wings. It's kind of a thing that I really enjoy to do, is a good wing. And when I do that, I like to switch it up and sometimes do nothing on the lid, maybe a little bit of a light brown in the crease, and then just do a colored wing. Those are so much fun. And it can really change your look up a whole lot instead of just having your black wing. And you can go and look for lipsticks. Just be wary that some lipsticks are not eye safe. That's kind of a big one. Some lipsticks are not eye safe. I know that the Kat Von D liquid lipsticks are eye safe, and I know for sure that the Jeffree Star liquid lipsticks, the velour liquid lipsticks, are eye safe as well. And so just change it up. You can try it out. Just like I said, be wary that there is a possibility that, it can't be eye safe and it will irritate. So try to go for something that is eye safe. Look it up. Everybody's got the Google machine now, and I would just look it up before you do it. Like I said, love a good colored eyeliner. Hangover makeup, I'm on the fence about because I haven't tried it yet, but I'm going to have to try it. Like, I have to. That bitten or popsicle lip, love. And I've also done the thing where I've put lip oil on top of that, and I love that. Love it. It's so good. Glossy eyes, 100% number one, my fave. Love, love, love a good glossy eye. I like glitter too. Like, a glitter eye can be very pretty. I haven't thought about adding glitter with my glossy eye, which I might try next time, but you can do glitter on its own and kind of get that same effect. My only issue with glitter is make sure it's an eye-safe glitter. Again, this is around your eyes just like the eyeliner, and the skin and the area is just so sensitive. You don't want to really, irritate it. You don't want to irritate it. And glitter can be irritable. Like, it can irritate some eyes, even if it is eye-safe, so just be wary. There are a lot of not eye-safe glitters out there, so just be wary if you're doing that. I'm not a big fan of glitter just because it gets everywhere. I always do my eyes before I do my base, no matter what colors I'm using, just so I don't get it all over my face. But it's still, it's a mess, and then sometimes it's really hard to get off, especially if you're using a glitter with a glitter glue instead of like a glittery eyeshadow or something like that. Like, those are easier, but if you're using a glitter with like a glitter glue, it's gonna be a mess after a while, and it's a pain in the butt to get off your eyes. I've seen this thing that people have been doing where they've been putting tape on their eyelids and pulling when they have glitter on it and pulling it off, and it does seem to work, but I just wouldn't put tape on your eyelids. You shouldn't even put tape where you're trying to make a wing. It's just, you're pulling at the skin. The skin is so thin around your eyes, like I've said. Just be wary when you're doing anything around your eyes. For real. It's no joke. You can really kind of mess things up if you do that. So before I keep rambling about eye safety, let's take a quick break, and when I come back, we will get on that jet and go from Japan to Korea.
The GSMC Life and Happiness podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back to the GSMC Beauty Tips podcast. Now, before the break, we were talking about beauty trends around the world, mainly focusing on makeup. So, we were just in Japan, and let's move on over to Korea. I wanted to do these two in succession because there are a lot of things that will overlap, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So in Korea, a big thing that I found interesting and is something I also kind of love is thin lashes. So basically it's just a curl and a light layer of mascara and nothing else. They probably do the same thing that I've recommended to you guys like a million times, where you put your mascara on and then you take a clean spoolie and you run that through your eyelashes before your mascara dries to kind of separate them. And I wonder if they do the same thing. I couldn't find anything on it, but I do love this look. So it's super light like that. A lot you'll see with the Korean and the Japanese makeup is that it's light. It's not a lot of makeup. So let's move on to tones. Now, a big thing in Korea is coral tones. You see it everywhere. And I don't know if it's just a passing thing, but it's kind of what I've been seeing everywhere is just coral tones all the time, in the eyeshadow, in the blush, in the lip, and I think it's fine. I think it looks great. It kind of looks fresh. So that's kind of, I don't know. I thought it was interesting that this was kind of their big thing right now is these coral tones. So let's move on to skin. Now, this is a trend that you've probably heard of before, and it is something that I love. And this is glass skin. So glass skin is just very dewy skin. Very dewy, very almost natural looking skin. So basically like what I always like, where it looks like you've dunked your face in a bowl of water. But so it's dewy skin. So you use products that are sheer, products that are very, very hydrating and stuff like that to really give that like dewy appearance. Love it, love it, love it. Japan also does with their base, just light base, not a lot of base makeup. And that's kind of what this is it's a light base, a little more makeup, base-wise than they use in Japan, but it is a very light base and it's very dewy. Everything you do is very dewy. So highlighter and stuff like that is a thing. You just want your skin to look wet. So let's move on to eyebrows. Now, the eyebrows I found that they do the most in Korea are like straight eyebrows. So they're not so arched, they're more on this straight line. I think it looks great on some people, but I really do think it's a face shape thing. Depending on how your face is shaped is gonna really determine the best shape for your eyebrow. So I don't think I could pull off a straight brow. I don't know if I have a straight brow. I'm gonna pull up a little mirror here and look at myself because now I'm really curious. It's got a little arch. So maybe I do have kind of a straight brow, but it's kind of just a thing, take it or leave it. If you're playing around with your eyebrows, trying to figure out what you think is going to look the best, then try the straight brow. It might actually be for you. Super arched brow. I don't have a super arched brow, and if I did, it would look ridiculous. I tried to do it once just to see what it looks like I'm telling you guys to do, and it's not for me. So it depends on your face shape, and play with it and have fun when it comes to that kind of thing. Now, the next one that I want to talk about is something I talked about when we were talking about Japan. So this is along the lines with the hangover makeup. And it's actually called Aegyo-Sol, A-E-G-Y-O, Sol, S-A-L. So this is, I didn't say the actual name for it because I didn't, in the Japanese section, because I didn't say, or I couldn't find anything that, called it Aegyo-Sol, and I didn't know if that was just a Korean term or not. But, this is the accentuating of the under eye bags. Now, this is a big thing. So basically what they're doing is, using like a highlighter. I've seen highlighters. I know they actually make specific stick things for these, and they're kind of like a highlighter pencil, if you will. And they put that right on the bag under the eye. So like right on the bag under the eye. And then they take the brown, like a brown you'd put under your lash line, and they do it under that to accentuate that bag. That's the highlighting and contour. So sometimes they don't even use like a shimmery. They'll use just like a nude colored eyeliner to put on top of the eye bag. And then when you go underneath it, it gives you that shadow, pushes the eye bag forward and really makes it look, puffy. And I think it looks great on some people. I really do. I'll have to try it. I will. But, it does look good on them, and it's kind of just the look. When you're looking at a picture of models from Japan or models from, Korea, this is a very popular thing that you see, and you don't really notice it because they're not trying to make it super noticeable. It's just part of the look. It's something you kind of look over when you're looking at something like this. So I thought I would kind of put the term that I knew, Aegyo-Sol, in this one instead of the Japanese one. But let's talk about one more thing. This is the biggest thing that I've noticed in Korea. The biggest thing. And that's skincare. Skincare is big in Japan, but it's nothing like it is in Korea. Now, this is like a 12-step process. I've seen people follow like K-pop stars and stuff like that, their skincare routine, because their skin always looks flawless. So people follow their skincare routine, and they follow these steps, and they're like 13 to 15 step process. And that's like just before you go to bed, or just before this or that. So it's not like it's something like 12 steps throughout the day. No, it's literally like, I'm going to bed, now I have to use this, and this. But even if it's, so time consuming and a lot of steps, it seems to be working, because everybody that I've seen from Korea or who do these kind of steps, these like 12-step processes, have this magnificent skin. So obviously Korea's got something going for them when it comes to skincare. I definitely have used Korean sheet masks and stuff like that, and I notice a difference when it comes to that. So if you're looking for a good skincare, go with brands that are Korean brands. I think that's kind of a really good place to start, because they're really trying for this, your skin to be so nice and so smooth and so clear and that kind of stuff, rather than just, this is for this and this is for this. It's like, this is the process to fix it all. That kind of thing. I love the idea of doing a 12-step Korean skincare routine, but my problem is that unfortunately a lot of the products are a little expensive. I mean, there are places that you can buy things that are not going to be that expensive, but that's also 12 different things you have to buy, and then when you run out, you have to buy it all over again. So that's the only reason I haven't done an actual, like, Korean skincare step process. But if you do like a vigorous skincare process, tweet me or Facebook me and let me know your process. I want to know what you use and what you think works the best for the skincare. Now we're going to take a quick short break, and when I come back, we'll talk about some more beauty trends from around the world.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the GSMC Beauty Tips podcast. Now, before the break, we were talking about beauty trends from around the world. We talked about Korea and we talked about Japan. Now, let's move on to China, since it kind of overlaps again, but then we'll get out of that. We'll stop overlapping, even though everything kind of overlaps because of the internet. So let's talk China. The big thing in China is bold lips. Big, bold lips in all different types of red tones. Red tones seem to be very popular. Besides that is big graphic eyeliner. Really big graphic eyeliner seems to be really taking the forefront in Chinese beauty, which I think is great. I love a good graphic eyeliner. But along with the graphic eyeliner comes in big eyes. Now, this one can kind of be achieved by makeup, but also is more of a product. So a lot of them use eye tape, which gives them a larger, or the appearance of a larger lid. And it's either eye tape or surgery to do that is very popular. And they do it a lot of times so they can do this graphic liner, even though you can totally do a graphic liner on a hooded eye and it still looks fantastic. But I thought I'd just throw that one in there, and let's move on to brows. So a big thing that the Chinese do with their brows is big, full, dark brows. They are kind of at the forefront of bushy brows. Like, the US is so for bushy brows right now, but they still follow that kind of straight eyebrow thing. And I think it's just a face shape thing. But that's kind of the same thing that's popular in Korea. They try to do that, but it's more just full brows. Full dark brows. No light brows, dark brows. That's kind of the big thing when it comes to China. Also, pale skin is really popular. Now, in Japan, we talked about the pale skin being part of the hangover makeup, but in China, the pale skin is always. They just really want that pale skin because it's supposed to look like royalty, is what I read. But I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's 100% true. But let's move on, get in our jet, and go to France. Now, France doesn't have a lot of real beauty trends that are going on. But you've probably heard of this one thing that they do the most, and that is no makeup for their base. Now, what this really means is that it's it's makeup, you're wearing makeup, but it's very, very light. They go for a very light foundation. They don't go for heavier foundations or anything. They go for minimal. Less is more, which I am 110% behind because I love the idea of a really nice sheer base. Something that'll cover up the imperfections and cover up the redness or what have you, make your skin tone more even, but not doing so much that it's basically a second skin. We're very guilty of doing that here in the US, is that big, thick foundation or something like that, because that's what people like. It looks good on camera. That's really what it is. But this is the complete opposite of that. This is no makeup, and I love this look. They do no makeup, so just really light on the skin, not so much over the top. Not adding a bunch of things. Another thing that is big for them is just picking one specific aspect of your makeup to focus on. So if you're going to do something bold, it's one thing and not a few things. Like here, a big thing is a bold eye and a bold lip. But we also do this where it's a bold eye and then everything else is kind of neutral. And that's what they do. The big thing for France is the red lip. They love a red lip. I love a red lip. I am telling you, no matter who you are, if you put on a red lip, you look great. Red lips look great on everybody, and it is very classy looking, and I think it's a great way to balance out like a no makeup base. So if you've got a real nice light base, you're looking kind of fresh, and then you put that red lip on, just stunning. You look like you're ready to conquer that office and take on that day. Now let's move from France to Russia. So in Russia, unlike in Japan or Korea or China, their big thing, or even here, their big thing is graphic eyebrows. So graphic eyebrows used to be popular a few years back in the United States, and that was kind of the big thing, was the graphic brow. I know a lot of people still wear them, and I just think they look like a lot. But this is a really popular thing in Russia, is to do the graphic eyebrows still. Also, lots and lots of mascara. So basically, they're not for false eyelashes. They just don't do false eyelashes, but they will put that mascara on and on and on and on. Which is fine if you like to do it that way, but it's not for me. Once again, I'm more on the lines of the thin lashes is what I prefer. Not so thick, but thin. But this is something that they do mostly for like a night out, not so much for, your everyday look. Another thing that's a little different is we're always here for a matte lip. I know that, more glossy lips have been coming into the scene in the US, but glossy lips in Russia is big. They love the glossy lip. They're not for matte lips at all. The glossy lip is kind of what they're looking for. So basically, graphic eyebrows, lots and lots of mascara, no false lashes, and glossy effects on the lips. I've also seen some really graphic colors that were floating around, but I couldn't really pinpoint it as being specific to Russia. But I was seeing a lot of that. I don't know. Glossy lip, I love a glossy lip. My only issue is gloss kind of gets everywhere. Love a glossy lip, but man, it gets everywhere. And if it's super sticky and the wind's blowing and your hair gets stuck to it, that's the worst. But it looks stunning. The only issue is eating and drinking and touching anything with your lips, because it will get everywhere. I know there are some great lip glosses out there, but a lot of people in the US really seem to be more on the train of a matte lip. Even if they do a glossy lip, they're always putting it on top of a matte lip. Now this is the opposite in Russia. They'll put a regular lipstick down and then a gloss on top of it. So it's a lot different than here in the US, where we're just kind of layering and layering and layering and layering, whereas France wants to take away. You know, a lot of these places, the real big difference is just that less is more, which I'm always trying to preach to you, thin, light layers, because less is more. Now, before I keep talking about less is more, as you've heard me talk about a million times, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll talk about some more beauty trends from around the world.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
Welcome back to the GSMC Beauty Tips podcast. Now, before the break, we were talking about beauty tips from around the world. Now, we're continuing on that train, and we're going to head on over to Brazil. So, the big thing for Brazil right now, well, these are a few big things, but the biggest thing for Brazil right now is bright lips. We're talking purples, we're talking bubblegum pinks and reds. Like, those are the big things right now in Brazil, is just a bright lip. I was reading some articles that were interviews with Brazilian makeup artists, and they said that the number one thing that everybody's into is this bright lip trend. And also that in your everyday Brazilian ladies' makeup bag, the only thing that they make sure they have on them at all times is lipstick. So lipstick really seems to be a big thing right now. Let's move on to the skin. Now, bronze, glowy skin is what everybody wants. It's just a nice bronze, beautiful glow. And a light base when it comes to your face. A light base with sunscreen. Now, when I was reading about this, it said that people were worried originally in Brazil that putting on foundation was packed with things you shouldn't put on your skin, and it would clog your pores and all sorts of stuff like that. But then as that kind of came out as a false thing, they started to dabble in a light base, but they have to make sure it's got sunscreen in it. Sunscreen or just good ingredients all around. Like, that's a big thing for them. Another thing that they can't live without, and that some makeup artists that I was reading about said that they have to have in their purse at all times, is black eyeliner. Black eyeliner is huge in Brazil. That's like, you got that and your bright lipstick in your bag and you are set to go. It's so good. I don't know. Their makeup is not a lot different than ours, except for the light base. Everybody now, I feel, wants a bronzy glow. We talked about fake tans in the last episode of the episode before, and everybody kind of uses them now. I don't, but everyone uses them now, and it's kind of like everybody just wants this bronze glow, and so that's a big thing. Other than that, that seems to be it, is really just bright lipstick, black liner, glowy skin, good ingredients in a foundation or a face base. And I think that's pretty simple and straightforward for Brazil. Let's move from Brazil on over to Australia. You can't see me, but I am making plain roots with my hands. It's really weird. Okay, moving on. Australia. So Australia is not too different from the US as well, but they like a really natural brow. Like I said earlier, that's kind of our thing, but they want a little bit more of a natural brow. And just natural in general seems to kind of be a big thing with them as well. They like a cream blush because it looks more natural. Also, monochromatic colors are good. They're really going for these monochromatic colors in their looks, like with their blush and their lipstick, or something along those lines. That just kind of seems like a really big thing right now, is this monochromatic look, which I love a good monochromatic look. You could do it with so many colors. Like, there's so much you could do with a monochromatic look. But also, the number one biggest thing is good ingredients. They do not want anything that's going to hurt their environment. They don't want anything that's going to possibly irritate them. They're just real big right now on good ingredients. And so, just like Brazil, except Brazil's good ingredient things seem to be more just for the base, whereas Australia wants good ingredients in everything. They want good ingredients in every single product that they use, which I totally understand. I do too. Everybody, we should just have some great ingredients, because there are some strange ingredients in some of the products that you're using every day. Hit me up on the Twitter at GSMC_beauty tips or GSMC beauty tips on Facebook, and let me know if you'd like to hear a podcast about ingredients, like ingredients in your makeup or your skincare. But from there, we'll move on to the Philippines. Now, I bet you have seen some serious Filipino makeup artists on Instagram, and they are always just so good. So stunning every single time, and you're like, how? How are you doing this? Why are you a wizard? Where do I get my powers? For real though, that's kind of what it is. So their big thing too, along with a lot of the other places we've talked about, is glowy skin. They want a lot of glowy skin, but they say if you're going for glowy skin, to be wary of not over contouring, because then you're taking away from that glowy skin, which I agree. I think if you really want a glowy skin and you're going to contour, to either do it under a light foundation with a cream, or just go so light-handed. Maybe pick something that's almost got a little bit of a sheen to it, and that might also help add to that glowy effect. Now, another thing that's really big with them is very bright, like neon eyeshadow. I'm here for this. They do so many cool things. I found some cool runway photos from the Philippines, and the lady that I was looking at had, she had that perfect glowy skin. It was so good. But her eyeshadow was literally two symmetrical, bright orange, almost like ovals that were almost touching the corner of her eye and going not even halfway on the eyelid. And it looked so good. I want to try this so bad. It's just stunning. Now, also a big thing is a bold lip, just like in Brazil. A bold lip is big, but they're seeming to go a little on the darker and not neon side when it comes to this. So not really purples or like bright purples or bubblegum pinks, more around the lines of like deep berry tones and, you know, those kind of tones, just deeper. And to go along with that, a big thing that's kind of showing up is grungy shades. Now, they were talking about, they called it like vamp look, but a lot of the things that I saw is just more grungy. And then it was also described as grungy shades is what they were talking about. So we're talking about burnt oranges, dark browns, a little bit of black, you know, that kind of thing. Also glossy lids, big there too. And then this one kind of threw me for a doozy, because everywhere else it's been natural brows or big bushy brows or really chiseled brows, but in the Philippines, it's barely their brows. So it doesn't really seem like they fill it in. They just use their brow and almost make the brow lighter. It's almost like you're taking it back to the 90s with your eyebrows, with the overplucking. They also do that too, but the photo that I saw that kind of brought this to my attention the most was a photo of a woman, and she had the greatest makeup on, but then her brows were literally kind of just stuck up into place, but there was no product, and they were so light, they were barely there. So that's kind of the trend there. I thought that was really interesting and kind of cool. Like, it looks really, I don't know, classy. It just looks really good. I kind of like this trend. I mean, all of these have been really good. Good ingredients, glowy skin, bright lips. I mean, I live by this. Now, let's take a quick break. And when I come back, we'll talk about some more beauty trends from around the world.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now. Don't bother. What's hot on Netflix and everything in between. That's gsmcpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to the GSMC Beauty Tips podcast. Now, before the break, we were talking about beauty trends from around the world. I've been focusing mainly on makeup because it's kind of something that is similar everywhere, but there are specific things that are huge in these other areas. So let's move on down to South Africa. So a big thing for South Africans is matte finish. They like a matte finish, and apparently that also has to do with the weather. What I was reading about was that the whole weather out there is different, and majority of the people who live there actually have more on the oily skin type. So matte finishes are big. Also, lengthening mascaras. We here in the US are pretty big on volume. We want a lot of volume in our eyelashes. That's why we wear fake eyelashes. But here it's length. They just want that length. Lots and lots and lots of length. So that's the thing. Also, lips. Bold lips. Now, we just talked about bold lips with Brazil, but in South Africa, it's similar with that neon bold lip, but I'm talking like, I saw bright blues, I saw a yellow, like stunning. Just stunning bright lips. That's the thing. Also, again, something we talked about is colorful liners. They really like that colorful liner look, and I don't blame you. Like, a colorful liner look can really help pop your eyes or your skin tone or whatever you're doing, and it really is a good way to make a center focus statement. Now, this is one that we actually haven't seen across the board, which I'm pretty excited about, and this is a very sculpted face. So I guess they just really want a contoured, chiseled face, and that's okay. I mean, some people do that out here. Some people are too scared to contour, and I think you should try it either way. But I would keep it light, unlike what it seems in South Africa, where it's a very sculpted face. Now, one other thing that I saw was a metallic eye. I noticed that metallic eye eyeshadow, or just like an eye that's covered in metallic eyeshadow, is really popular out there as well. That's all I have for you for South Africa, because it does seem like there are a lot of things that transfer over from the US to South Africa, but this seems, these are the things that I found that are the most popular things. Now let's move on over to Italy. So in Italy, healthy looking skin is big. You want that nice, healthy looking skin. And this is actually opposite of what we just talked about. We're going to skip the contour. Now, we're going to skip the contour and take blush instead. So basically using blush almost like a contour, or just a little bit of blush and no contour. And that's okay. I mean, that's fine. And I see a lot of people that do this where they do the blush as a contour, and it's okay. Just you gotta pick the right color. That's the problem with this, is like, you have to make sure it's a good color that's gonna, work with your skin tone. You do not want to go heavy-handed, because then you will look like a clown, and that's the issue I see. I see a lot of people who are doing this, and they do just huge, like, pink stripe on their face, and it's so noticeable because they just applied too much. When it comes to doing the blush, you have to do it lightly if you're going to do it this way. Another thing, just to throw it in there, that I keep seeing everywhere is the contour and blush and highlight looking like a Neapolitan ice cream. It's a lot. I think you understand what I'm talking about when I say Neapolitan ice cream. You've got the different flavors in the one container, and what we're looking at is different flavors on your face. And I just think that, like, it's good to do this, but if you're going to contour just in general, whether it's just contouring and nothing else, or contour and blush and highlight, be prepared for where you set your blush or where you put your contour or your highlight, because it can look really muddy, kind of just thrown all together. Just be wary. Look at face charts. That's kind of helpful too. Let's move on before I just go on a rant. So the bold natural brow is huge in Italy, but with a rounded tip. So like the front of the eyebrow is more rounded, but it is very natural and bold. So I thought this was kind of interesting because they said that the rounded, or what I could find, they said that the rounded brow makes you look younger. I don't know if that's a thing, to be honest, but apparently in Italy that's kind of why they go for a more rounded front shape, is because it looks a little more youthful. Now, another thing with Italy is the wings. They love their eyeliner wings, and that's okay. A lot of places do, as we've seen, and I love a good wing, so go for it. Now, with their lips, we're kind of opposite than some of the ones we were talking about. It's very natural lip. A very natural lip with lip balm on top of it. So basically, you're just doing a nude lip, something that's close to your skin tone or close to your lip color, and then topping that off with a lip balm. Now, I can't do this because I am allergic to a lot of things in lip balm, and it's something in lip balm, and I don't know what it is. I've talked about this before. Now, let's move on to Spain before I ramble about lip balm. Now, in Spain, they do love their eyeliner, but not so much a wing. And if it's a wing, it's very small. Now, the thing is just to kind of line the eye, just to marry everything together, sort of, and give you a little bit more. They don't want the eyeliner to be a focus. They really want the eyeliner to just enhance and not be like the main focus, like a big wing or anything like that. Which I understand. I do that sometimes. I honestly kind of find it easier to do a wing just because if I mess up, I'm going all out. And sometimes my eyeliner, when I'm trying to make it look like this, just goes straight into panda eyes. Moving on. So their lips are nudes. They love a nude, just like the Italians, a nude lip, but not with lip balm. So it's either a nude lip or maybe a red on a special occasion. It seems to be more on the nude lip side than the red lip side. So they're going for a little bit more natural. Also, bold lashes. They love a good bold lash, and I can understand that. We over here in the US have seemed to really been drawn to really bold lashes, and that's okay. I mean, to each their own. But then I found this. So let's talk about this from Spain. I was looking through all the different trends, but the biggest trend that everybody says is out there is just self-care. Now, it's just drinking a lot of water, making sure you put on your SPF. They were even taking pills to help with their skincare. And they just say really committing to self-care is the biggest beauty trend or makeup trend or whatever, that in all of it, just because they want to take care of their skin before they start piling stuff on top of that. And I can totally understand that. Skincare is great. It really is. Let me tell you, skincare is so good and you really should be doing it. And sometimes it is a lot. It is self-care, but sometimes you can treat yourself when you do skincare, and it's kind of like your own personal spa day. I love to do masks, sheet masks, clay masks, all those masks. And I make my husband do them with me, but he loves it too. So, but before I keep rambling or just talking or just throwing up words, excuse me, let's take a quick break and we'll move on to some more trends from around the world.
The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast, the show that gives you advice on everything travel. We explore places you've always wanted to go, as well as giving tips for traveling in those places. We'll give you advice on the best sites for travel tips, information, and discounts. Join us as we travel the world, explore cultures, and meet new people. The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast has got you covered. Download the GSMC Travel Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back to the GSMC Beauty Tips podcast. Now, this entire podcast, we've been talking about different beauty trends from around the world. And I was thinking, why don't we talk about some beauty trends in the US of A, but not just regular beauty trends. I want to talk about beauty trends that are expected for 2020. It's barely been a full month of 2020, let me tell you. So I thought these were kind of interesting, and we'll see if any of them come true. And if you guys have any guesses or ideas of what you think is going to be popular beauty-wise in 2020, then hit me up on the Twitter at GSMC_beauty tips or at GSMC beauty tips on Facebook, and let me know what you think. So let's talk about what is expected in the US beauty trends 2020. All right. They say exaggerated eye shape. So this is something that I actually did talk about earlier, and it's like a block of color that is softened, blurred, and blended into shapes. So it's basically you put down a shape of a neon color or a bright color, and then you take your blending brush and really precisely blend it so it keeps the shape of the shape, but it also just kind of changes the shape of it. I don't know how to describe this very well, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go on the GSMC_beauty tips Twitter and post a photo of what I'm talking about so you guys can kind of understand. Also, they say this year what's going to be popular is pops of blue. Now, I'm not 100% sure about this. I don't think that pops of blue are gonna be popular. I think we'll see a little more blue, but I don't think it's going to be like a full-blown trend. Now, this one kind of surprised me because I wasn't really thinking of this as being a trend in 2020, but they say white eyeliner is gonna be a trend. I'm here for that. I love a good weird eyeliner. I think I talked about it earlier. I love a good colored eyeliner. And white eyeliner, I am so for. So I really kind of hope this is a trend and does kind of catch on, even though I really haven't heard anything about white eyeliner. But they also say just non-traditional colorful eyeliners in general. And that's kind of the same with some of the trends in some of the other places we've talked about today, is that a bright, colorful, or just different colored liner is more popular. So maybe this will kind of transition into the US. They also say that red lips are going to be a big thing, and I am stoked. Red lips have always been a really big, popular, hot ticket item, but the thing is, we've kind of strayed from red as a norm and gone into more nude shades, and then not just the nude shades, but bright shades, and then red's kind of been left in the dust. So I'm really excited about this because I've said it a million times and I will say it a million times again. Everybody looks good in a red. If you're scared to wear a red, try it at home, like for real. So good. Now, this one, I'm not sure, like I feel like it will kind of catch on, but it's still gonna not be at the front of everything. That's at least what I think. So what I'm talking about is a soft, glowy complexion. Now, they say this is going to be a big thing in 2020, and I hope so, because that's always what I'm striving for in my own makeup or also in a client's makeup, is something that's nice and soft and glowy and looks more like skin and just kind of evens everything out. And as we've noticed, or I've noticed at least, in all these other countries we talked about, this was one of the most popular things. So maybe it will catch on because it's so popular everywhere else. But fingers crossed. And along with that goes sheer products that are a little bit more sheer and not so opaque. Now, I'm not sure about this. Maybe if the soft glowy complexion takes off, sheer products will, follow suit, at least that way, but I don't think sheer products in every product is going to be a thing. I don't think they're going to really go for sheer eyeshadows or anything like that, because everybody likes a good pigmented eyeshadow, and the same with your lips and all that. But let's move along. They say graphic colored liner, or also known as like floating liner, where you kind of put the liner above your crease and it's just kind of there, in bright colors. It's not usually in black, but it can be done in black. They say this is going to be a big thing. I've already seen this around a lot lately, so I do think this is going to be a big thing. Along with watercolored eyes. Now, this is something I've been seeing everywhere, and I love the way it looks. It's like almost a really light wash of color that's just been really blended out on your eye, and it's usually never more than like 3 colors tops, so it adds on to a monochromatic look, which is also on this list. So it can kind of add to the monochromatic look if you're using one color or whatnot, and I think it's a stunning look. Now, monochromatic colors, I think that'll come out and be so good, but I'm still not 100% sold that it's going to be 2020's hot ticket item. Now, the next one I'm also not sold on, and this is gems. So people are saying gems in your makeup look is going to be a big thing. This has always kind of been a thing, but as I've talked about before, and I'll say it again, your eyes are a sensitive place. And gems can be deceiving, and they can be harmful to the skin around your eyes, and also if you're putting them on your eyelids, which people do. And I just think it's a little much, and we should be very wary when it comes to gems. Plus, people are really into recycling and natural products and things that aren't going to hurt our planet, and gems can do that. Most of the time, gems are not, very recyclable, just saying. But let's move along. So the next one is, actually, next 2 are lips. So the first one is vinyl lips. Now, I've seen this everywhere, and I think it's gonna keep being everywhere. It's just a really, glossy lip. And I think that's still gonna be a thing. Now, this one I am so excited about. I cannot even tell you how excited about this I am. And I'm talking about blurred lips. Now, this is what I do on my own. If you listen to my podcast where I did my makeup and talked to you guys at the same time, you'll know that I love a blurred lip. I like to take my lipstick, apply it, and then kind of smudge it out around the edges of my mouth. I don't like a really harsh eyeliner. Oh my gosh, where am I? Lip line. I don't really like a really harsh lip line. I've always liked the way that a blurred lip looks a little bit better, especially on me. I don't know if it's, for everybody, but I really like it. So I really, 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 really hope that this is a huge trend this year in 2020. And the last thing that I want to talk about is creativity. Now, a lot of these things we've been talking about are pretty creative in general. Like when it comes to white eyeliner, non-traditional colorful eyeliner, the blurred eye shapes, and all sorts of graphic liner and floating liner and stuff. This is all really creative. And I just think we need more creativity in 2020. And if you listen to one of my podcasts about the new year, I talked about what I was naming this new year. So every year I name something. And so last year I think was the year of succession, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember. But this year, I called it the year of creativity. And I really hope everybody follows suit. And if you're not really creative with your makeup and you're not sure what to do, just go for it. You don't even have to wear it out or anything, but you can still try and be creative with your makeup. I really find that the most fun thing to do. Honestly, it's like my favorite is just to go crazy. And usually I just do it at home. I don't do it anywhere else. I just do it at home, and I'll take a picture or something and put it on my Instagram. But anyway, I want to thank you guys so much for listening to the GSMC Beauty Tips podcast. I really care about you guys, and I'm so excited that you sit here and listen to me babble on and on about whatever beauty thing I want to talk about. So once again, seriously, thank you for listening to the GSMC Beauty Tips podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Colleen, and I will talk to you in the next one.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Beauty Tips Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows from the GSMC Podcast Network, from health and wellness to entertainment and life and happiness to sex and relationships. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Beauty Tips Podcast.